that makes sense to me. And speaking of like the political issues of like, everyone's tightening restrictions, it seems like everyone is also writing off what seems to be most obviously the best all energy process right now, which is uranium and nuclear energy. And I've been bullish here for years now after doing a bunch of research, and the supply chain there is being so complex. Like, what are your thoughts on nuclear energy right now?
I do agree that it's going to be the necessary fallback at some point, especially if we, go as hard as we're trying to go towards, electronic vehicles and electronic battery power. I mean, we know that's going to take a lot of fossil fuel to get to, but we don't know how efficient it's going to be. So I think that eventually I think that there is a total comeuppance of this whole, push towards electric power, battery power, and push toward intermittent power, where they become just an absolute failure and something that societies won't allow themselves to rely on. Because they'll be, once things go and start relying on more wind and solar, there'll be some kind of a peaceful period, and then there'll be a complete natural disaster that happens where people are out of power for so long that people die. And that'll be sort of the end of that's the end of the green movement. Let's start working on survival first, and then we'll worry about, how much carbon we're putting into the atmosphere. So I think that whole climate hoax is going to get turned over. And then I think that one day the cooler heads may prevail, and we'll pivot towards nuclear energy. And while I think that'll be good for our power generation and for society, I don't know that necessarily means that the price of uranium has to go up either. If we're going to go to nuclear power, then we're going to need more people to produce uranium, which means there's going to be a bigger, broader, more robust market for it. And so why does the price have to just go up and up and up forever? I believe in that the stocks would be great stocks to own. Cameco, obviously, things like that. So I'm generally a uranium bull. I'm trying to stay uranium bull. It's just that it's a sort of it's a glacial speed moving trade. So that's why it's also something that's not that exciting for me.
Yeah, well, there's a few things that I like to double click on there, but I guess if you're not, I would agree with you that the price of uranium might not actually go up just because there's more people getting participating. But would that cause you to take a deeper look at maybe some of the utility companies and see that as an opportunity then, as they will likely benefit? Yeah.
They'll all get shaken up if we start moving towards nuclear, right? I mean, they'll be the hot stocks to trade, and there may be a revolution in that process, right? Where which one of these companies becomes maybe one utility becomes the master of nuclear, and that's all you need, right? Or something like that, or so that there could be that's certainly another pioneer revolutionary market that I'd love to chase down, when it happens. And for now, it's just worth keeping an eye on and staying semi-educated, I guess.
Yeah, right now ECG is what I'm looking at. But I also want to double click on what you said for what you think will actually cause the environmental cultists to actually turn ship and realize that nuclear is the best path, will actually take something catastrophic and the clean energy sources to actually fail. Is that like what you're thinking it's going to take for them to actually jump off the ships right now?
Man. I mean,
it's not catastrophic, but it actually makes a lot of sense to me, unfortunately, even though I don't like it.
Yeah, man. You got somebody. John Kerry is not going to be stopped, right?
Yeah,
right.
Nobody's
stopping him. Nobody's stopping him, right? So he is going around with his pedal to the metal on the globalist plan for carbon emissions, right?
Right.
He's threatening here in the U.S., right? He's making comments all over the world in his private jet, and he's threatening that now that agriculture is too big a part of our carbon emissions. Now, how long do you think that he is going to be able to pull that joke off on 342 million Americans? You know what I mean? How long before they're like, wait a minute, dude, you're talking about our effing food supply. Right. You know what I mean? So can we just talk about, nutrients coming first, right? Like the food that we eat has got to get some kind of a precedent, so that, that's why we're having all this cricket bullshit and all this, there was just an article on Reuters how in Japan, they're moving towards a lot more insect-based diet, and it's like, give me a break, like what garbage. There's nobody looking to move towards an insect diet,
Yeah.
So that's my point, is that, they've got to try to pull this gigantic thing off on the world while the world's eyes are wide open. They're over in Belgium. They're like, okay, farmers, you guys are closed and you can't be in farming again, and we're going to take the farms from you. And they're like, what? You know what I mean? Like they literally, they just tried to pull that off. And now, all the farmers are all protesting. Same thing is happening, I guess, in Ireland and potentially in the UK. So I just feel like they're pushing so hard on society that eventually it's just not going to work. Right?
Yeah.
People are just not going to be okay with, oh, okay, no more red meat. Got it. Okay, so we can save the planet, because that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So that's, I just feel like that. So eventually there's just going to be pushing so hard to be like, okay, now you have no more gas burner. Now you can't take a hot shower. You can't boil, and the whole, that's not going to win any votes. People don't vote for that, right? They vote for the guy that's going to be like, yeah, I'm a gas stove guy. I'm in fossil fuels. I'm a drill baby drill guy. I'll vote for that guy. This guy lets me put my air conditioner back on. How many votes is he going to get?
Yeah.
Right. So that, that's when the pendulum will be like, yeah, it's enough green for us. Okay. While we'll swing back the other way, and it takes forever, though, as you can see. I don't know when this is going to happen, but it takes forever.
It's actually extremely frustrating to just watch it all just veer so far in the wrong way, especially since I was looking at like UK estimates for starvation, and who knows how far off those actually are from how bad it gets, because the politics that start to play out once once people start starving, and the governments will hog the food. And I mean, it's a disaster.
Yeah, that's revolution waiting.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's pitchforks, man. Pitchforks and torches. People are not, they're not going to go for it. They're not going to go for it. So, and then, so then you hopefully say, okay, we get back to fossil fuels, and then, maybe, people like Doomberg do enough, socialization of the fact that, nuclear waste can't be cleaned up is a total fallacy, right? It's something that's totally pushed by the environmentalists. It's a total lie. Like nuclear waste is as, disposable as any waste on the planet. It is as containable and less dangerous than a lot of chemical waste. So you're like, wow, if the world ever learns this, maybe we'll move towards using it, because of its wild efficiency, right? And if you, my idea was always just, if you use it and, really somebody revolutionizes how to protect it, then we can all, benefit from that. So hopefully that happens in my lifetime. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully
It should happen in yours.
Yeah. It'd be exciting.